Hi, I'm Roberto Martinez and you're watching Toffee TV.
Welcome to Toffee TV with me, Ped. We've got Baz with us, Tony Murrell, and we've got someone who, no matter what you do in life, you'll never score a goal in a derby at the Gladys Street, Mark Ward. It doesn't matter what you do, you'll never do that. So that's it.
Well, we won't, but obviously players will. They play.
No one.
Imagine we don't score in derbies.
Yeah, no one watches us either. They're all too miserable. Right. Let's get straight into it. Stoke last week, Baz. Horrendous.
The result, yeah.
Horrendous.
Yeah, it was horrendous. I think they played okay in terms of 800 passes, which is what we seem to be. Forget the result. Perfect football, yeah.
Mark, I mean, at the moment it's just grim. And when you watch a game like last week, that game at Stoke, there didn't seem to be any fight in the team.
Desire, was there?
Doesn't seem to be any fight, and I think that's, you associate any Everton team for years and years and years. That's what you have: fight, desire. Players who play for the shirt, and I think that's so badly missing at the moment.
Well, it is missing, and if it doesn't sort it out soon, we don't want to be struggling with a few games to go. We don't want another Wimbledon scenario, and you know, I know we've got Europe and we've got Newcastle coming up, but you know, he's got to get stuck into the players and you know, tell them, you know, they've got to fight for the shirt, and we're in a survival battle now after that result. You know, each result that comes now, it's massive.
I went on Wednesday, and to be honest, you know, you look at the starting lineup, and for me, his formation's totally wrong. You know, he started with 3 centre midfielders: Barry, McCarthy, and Gibson, sorry, and we had Neil Lennon. Sorry,
I wish we did. Neil Lennon.
Aaron Lennon, should I say? I mean, you know, it was crying out. So we have Murrell on the other wing and Lennon. We need to start playing 4-4-2 for me, and you know, you can see everyone's frustration, everyone's not happy, and I'm not one for sacking managers, to be honest. I'm really not. But for me, he's on thin ice now, and I mean, he's got to change the formation. He's got to. I think
it's so disappointing after, you know, the successes they had last season. You know, we were talking before about, you know, relegation, and you'd never have thought of that this season, would you? I know, okay, the plus is the European success, but you know, it's no good winning that and getting relegated. Because how much damage would that do to the club?
Well, yeah, and what really annoys you, where some national radio stations and all the rest of it going, would it be a good season for Everton if they went down but won the Europa trophy? And you're thinking, what planet do you people live on? This, you know, this is Everton. It doesn't matter. We were told, weren't we? Never again. They would have.
It won't happen. I think there's too much quality in the squad, and you know, we only need a few results really.
The worry is that when you're sitting at home, when you're watching QPR results and thinking,
well, the Leicester game was a killer as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, but when you're sitting there thinking, God, I hope QPR get beat today. Oh, I hope Leicester get beat today. That is massively sad from where we were last year.
Mark, you were at the club as it built up to that horrible, fateful Wimbledon game.
Listen, I'd left because of Mike Walker, obviously, because I'd never left the club only for him. Like I said before, the only thing that we had in common was our initials. But I've left to go to Birmingham, and it was ironic, you know what I mean? It's I've gone there and I was gutted, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, you know, my team, and I'm not being big-headed, I'm thinking, well, if I'd have stayed, they wouldn't have been in that position. But it needed lads who could battle, Barry Owen and all that. And we, you know, we were lucky to stay up.
Which it showed the season after, didn't it? It did show that the season after, what battling players could do.
Yeah. What I was going to say was, though, and I'm not trying to say that we're in a position where we're going to go down, but the similarities, that season before Mike Walker come in, we struggled over Christmas because we seemed to be plodding along quite well. I think we beat Southampton here in Howard's last game. Beagley scored, I think, early on. And then we just went into a little bit of free fall over Christmas, and that kind of dragged us into the mire. And this year we were bobbing along, you know, we weren't pulling up any trees. I think we were a point behind Liverpool at Christmas or thereabouts. Yeah. Lost them 4 games over Christmas, and now we don't seem to have recovered. And the similarities there, how do you try and break that?
Well, it's only by winning or stopping the rot, and you know, the results haven't gone well since Christmas. The Christmas period was diabolical, really. And look, that can make or break the season. You know, Roberto, he wants to play the right way. You know, he wants to play from the back. Me looking at it is like, we haven't got the players to be able to do what he wants to do at the moment. So, and it's very slow and deliberate. You know, sides are pushing up and closing us down, and they're onto us from last season, and he hasn't got a plan B really. So you know, the lads have just got to dig in and grind out a few results, and maybe, you know, let's get to a European final.
Do you think the Stoke game was almost like some players feeling sorry for themselves? Because you get that, don't you? When you're down there, sometimes there's a reaction, but sometimes it goes the other way, where players suddenly think we are in it and we're feeling sorry for ourselves, and that's what it looked like.
I was saying to Baz before there, I mean, like, on Wednesday, Stoke are everybody's bogey team, but on Wednesday, they all worked for each other, and you could see that they're horrible to play against, they're strong, they're physical. And I was saying to one of the lads in the car on the way back, we never had one player there who went out a leader. All right, Jags is the captain, and I don't slate players or whatever, but for me, you know, when you're captain, you've got to be crying for, you know, in the referee's faces. There was decisions there, I'm not crying saying, oh, this never went our way. We just weren't good enough on Wednesday. But for me, you need someone who's a leader. You cross that white line, you're playing for Everton. So you go out there and you deliver. You can look at you and go, give him the ball. There's not one player there on Wednesday or who was on the bench who you can think, get the game by the scruff of the neck, give him the ball, go and win the game for us. People are saying it's Martinez is stubborn, he doesn't want to do this and whatever. You know, when a lot of people are saying let's get rid and all that, but if you did get rid, who would you get? For me, I'm for Saka manager, like I said before, but it's about, if they don't want to play for the manager, play for the fans, because it's also turn out in numbers every week, and that's the thing about Evertonians. Do you know what I mean? We always turn up in numbers.
Question for you, Mark, because you're the only one who can answer this. You talk about Mike Walker there. Will there be players who might not be playing for them, and you can see the reaction by the way they're playing?
Yeah, to me, you know, a relegation battle. I got relegated when I was at West Ham, and it's not nice. We had to win at Anfield. We went 1-0 up and we got beaten. It was horrendous, but you know, we had a decent side at West Ham at the time. And I think these players, what they've got to get together themselves as individuals. You know, the manager's there, he picks the team, but they don't want to be associated with a relegation. You know what I mean? You don't, because it's not nice. And you know, if they don't book their ideas up, you know, it's like this. Every tackle will mean everything now. You know, from you put, you know, instead of a mid-table sort of comfortable running, now they've got cup finals.
On. And what annoys me is though, I mean, I've seen a link today, Lukaku with Juventus, and that's what annoys me, because you look at every single one of them players and you think they'd actually leave Everton and go somewhere maybe better or higher, and that's the more worrying thing, that after you've truly got something to fight for, you know, you just want Murrell on the bench. He's probably only on the bench because he hasn't signed a contract. You wonder why he's not playing. You think he's going to go somewhere better, and that to me is the worry at the moment, that you're thinking half of these are not really bothered.
I don't think, I mean, from a fan's perspective, you look at it and you think, oh, no, they're not chasing back, or there's a 50-50 and you've got to go right in and win it. You know, you can see fans, and sometimes you know, they're waiting for, some of our fans, and you know, they're waiting for them to misplace a ball, and they're right on the case straight away. Now, where, don't get me wrong, you want a player to, if he's lost the ball, chase it back, track it back. You want desire, you know what I mean? But there is some certain players who, for me, you know, they don't put in what they should.
Through the motions, are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Like me, I wasn't the greatest player in the world, but when I put the blue shirt on, and I'd like to say that in every club, I went out there to win. And if I wasn't having a good game, I'd made sure the person who was up against, playing against, he was going to have a torrid time. And sometimes, you know, we have to bend the rules and do a few, you know, dodgy tackles.
Well, we've been seen as being too nice all season, far too nice, even stupid things like kicking the ball out when there's no need to. We are a soft team, and I know Roberto loves the idea of Everton being sort of everyone's favourite second team and all that.
You know, a couple of years ago, I remember reading an article, Arsene Wenger saying the most intimidating atmosphere and one of the toughest places to go was Goodison Park. Now that's because it's full of Scousers. It's not like the other crowd over there. You know, 99% of Scousers, and that's the truth, isn't it? And you know, that's what we've got to get back to. Yeah,
but Tony's got a spot on there. The atmospheres have been rubbish.
Yeah,
they've been rubbish lately. Far too many people are waiting for something to go wrong so they can moan about it, so they can use their emotions the other way.
I think we're in a position now where it doesn't matter whether you're pro Roberto or you're not. You know,
get together.
Because we've got 10 games to go. Let me just ask you, because we're talking about Mike Walker there, and people are saying players don't want to play for him now, and there's cracks. I think we're all looking for reasons why we're not playing. But while you were here, and obviously you said before you didn't really get on with Mike Walker, but you know when you pull that shirt on and you cross that white line, did it matter who was the manager for you?
Not for me. Not at all.
But are the players who it will, do you think?
I think, yeah, obviously, you know, I never stayed at a club where I didn't want to be because of the manager. Right. You know, I didn't respect Mike Walker because that was my own opinion, that he was never good enough to manage. You know, you give a manager an opportunity. Lou Macari was the same at West Ham. Right. You know, when the likes of him, he comes in and wants you to play the long ball, can't receive the ball off the keeper or the fullback. You know, you have the Devonshires and the Bradys in the team. You know what I mean? You know that the man's not, well, to me, he's not talking the way it should be in football. Right. With Mike, he was never at the job anyway. You know what I mean? The job was too big for him. But pulling the Everton shirt on, that's immaterial. Who's the manager? You go out and fight for your club.
How does it affect the player if they are told to play a certain way and they either think it's not the way they should be playing to get out of trouble, or they are just not capable? Because this season we've seen incidents. I mean, Distan obviously springs to mind. He's clearly had something with him, and he clearly doesn't like the way we play as well, and the two things have sort of rubbed up against each other.
Well, maybe he's been told to knock the ball into midfield, you know what I mean, and keep the ball, and sometimes centre-halves aren't. That's where I think we struggle. The full-backs are very, very comfortable. You know, they could play in any team in the Premiership, but, you know, the centre-half pairings, you know, when I played with centre-halves, I played with the best two footballing centre-halves with Alvin Martin and Tony Gale. They were great on the ball, and we played from the back, but really centrally, you know, knocking it into midfield. If it's not precise, you know, people will push. And with Everton, I've noticed it mostly that they're robbing that first ball in the last third, and they're on top of you.
Can I just say about, you were saying about Distan, I think, with Distan, I mean, he's obviously gone to Roberto and he's put his feelings across where you want the senior players to go, all right.
I don't think it's just him.
I totally agree. There's a couple of senior players where I think, obviously Baines comes to mind and stuff, but at a football club you've got the younger lads like John Stones, Barkley, and you're saying playing certain ways. Now for me, like I said to Baz before, Barkley last season, he'd have a little run, he'd be explosive, he'd be strong on the ball. Now, you know, we break, we look on the halfway line, we pass it sideways, there's no one bombing on, and you're saying playing a certain way. Well, maybe he is in his ear and look, we're going to play this certain way. Where now it's time to dig in, and you got to win it at all costs for me.
Teams want to play against Everton now because they're easy to play against. That's the thing where we've never been.
We've been found out, Everton. Yeah. Everton have been found out.
So my dad's saying the centre half getting the ball. If the manager says it's going to happen, is that it? And that there's nothing a player can do about it.
You're working with your tactics that week. You know what I mean? So it's great if you've got, to me, two up front, and you've got someone that goes long and someone too short. So you've got two options, haven't you? Especially when I played wide. You know what I mean? I'd like to knock a ball into feet to the striker that can hold the ball up, or, you know, just bend it round the back four for someone to run to. We haven't got them options.
Well, we've seen Coney. I mean, we've said for weeks, haven't we? We think Coney can do that job. I mean, he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he certainly seems he can hold the ball up. And yet he doesn't want to play him. And, you know, we look at the Stoke game. He brings him on. He brought Osman on as well. He just want leaders in the team. I think that's something we've missed. And instantly they looked like there was something with them two on the pitch. So maybe that's a way he can go. I know it's not what he wants to do, but
I think,
you know, he's going to have to do something.
I mean, we were just totally blunt, weren't we, until Coney come on, and Coney come on. Within a couple of minutes, Osman had a shot. Coney tested the keeper. Lukaku all of a sudden's making runs and Coney's keeping it. But it was about 28 minutes they were on for, and that's it. Now you know that the next game it'll go back to one up front. Now, to get the best, we were talking off air before about Lukaku, to get the best out of Rom, he doesn't want to be facing, you know, he doesn't want to be holding the ball up back to goal. He wants to be the one running on, and I think that's really the frustration, and it goes on week in, week out, is that we know that it's not really going to change. It's still going to be that 4-3-3, or however he wants to word it, 4-3-2-1, whatever it may be. And I think for me that's the real key. People are talking about getting rid of him. I think he's a very good manager. He's obviously very intelligent, but if you're not prepared to bend,
and his philosophy is an Everton way. You know what I mean? We all want to watch lovely football, especially from the back. But you've got to have the personnel to do it, and I don't think, you know, he keeps on, you know, making the players play that way. We've made a lot of mistakes. You saying that today, Tom? How many goals have we given away by, you know, short balls, or, you know,
square
balls, and it's, you know, other teams are waiting for this to happen. You know what I mean?
Another thing from this game I seen as well, I mean, obviously their first goal was the cross into the box, ahead, then it goes in. In the second half, we had the ball in the similar area, and then we knocked it across the box, I think 4 times, and then it ended up going back to the centre back, and I think we lost it then. And you're thinking, that, you know, look what works in football.
Should be like, to me, a wide man. If I beat me full back or got past him, I had to deliver. Because if I come back and I didn't deliver, I had the opportunity. So the strikers who were going in on that ball, they'd have to come back out. You know yourself. So I didn't want to disappoint because that was my job. Now that's a prime example of like doing the right thing. Now, you know, they don't really shoot from distance as well. No, on sides, and this
is the thing. If you don't shoot, you don't score.
Well, Arsenal showed that last week.
And you pass. You don't win games by passing everybody off the park.
But if you're shooting from distance, they've got to come out to close you down, so that would create more space. They didn't have to ask me twice to shoot. You know what I mean?
Scored some belters from that as well. I think the other thing with the goal, in terms of the goal, I think Garbutt's got to get out quicker as well. He's got to close. We don't stop crosses, and that's how you defend. But I just wanted to pick you up on, well, not pick you up, but just highlight things. People had to go with Howard, and you know, we could have done a lot better. But just watch the captain, just watch the goal again, and watch our skipper who's marking Victor Moses. As the ball comes in, Jagielka runs towards our goal and just leaves Moses. Now, where's he going? Because the only thing he can do, Moses, is get his head on. He's not going to pull it down and run at us because he's on the penalty spot. I'm just thinking, he's your captain, he's a centre-half, he should be going and clearing that. He runs the other way. I just couldn't. It was just really strange. Tim Abbott doing 2 hops before he jumps as well is absolutely bizarre for me. Really, really bizarre. But
even saying about the goal for their goal, I mean, Howard, for me, it's everybody's the same. If you ask every Evertonian, I wasn't really a fan of Robles or whatever. He's come in, and for me, Roberto's man management. He's took the kid out, and he's played well for us. He's proved me wrong because I wasn't a fan of his, to be honest. Howard, it's too many mistakes for me, and it's got to a point now where, like I was saying before, people are looking for for a mistake and an error or whatever, and it's bang straight away.
I'd make him shave that beard off. Maybe it's that beard.
His head's upside down. The thing I'd ask you, Mark, because obviously you can answer it better than anyone. If you say you're in a squad and you're looking to get in the team, you've been dropped or whatever, or you come back from injury, and you get in the side and you set 2 or 3 goals up, and then the lad who's playing, who you've replaced, is back from injury, and you get pulled out. I mean, what does that do to you as a player?
The old way was like, you know, I was lucky because if I was always fit in most of the teams I played, and I was in there, and but I always go back to Howard. He was the best manager I played under some great managers. Now, the prime example for that was Sheedy. If Sheeds was injured, he could be out for 6 weeks or 4 weeks, and you could go on and run unbeaten. I'd say, you know, if you was left side, Sheedy was back in. And I would always say, he'd always pick his best 11 who were fit. So it's different now because they've got that the squad rotation and things like that. But you know yourself, if you've done a good job for weeks, and then you think to yourself, well, I've done really well. You'd be so disappointed if you know you got dropped and someone else was back in. But that's all down to the management and I think the way it is, you've got to pick your best side, I think.
But I think that's okay then. If you see, I'm the other way. I think if you get in and perform, you stay and you keep the share, because that then creates a competitive edge. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? But this, what was more annoying about the Howard thing was he wasn't playing well before he got injured. Robles gets in, does okay, gets better. We start keeping clean sheets. We have a couple of positive results, and he's available. And he's back out the side, and it's happened with Garbutt, and it's happened with Bezic. And you know, I just think if Everton were tearing everything up and that was his best 11 and we were winning week in week out, you'd go, well, he's decided it was best 11, but things aren't working, and surely you've got to create a competitive edge.
Don't never change a winning team. You know what I mean? I remember Liverpool. You know, if you got out of that team, there was great players in them reserves. You know, and people would play with injuries because they were terrified that if they you know what I mean, if they're out, would they ever get back in again?
And every game it's the same 3 subs, isn't it? It's one winger, nearly one centre midfielder, and one on the other side, Naismith or Barkley. Every week it's just the same thing. I think that's what starts to annoy people, that it's starting to become the same thing. It's starting to be very much like it was near the end of Moyes.
like a lot of people, that's what I'm saying, like there's a lot of people who want change now, do you know what I mean? Like I say, I'm not one for soccer managers, but he's treading on very thin ice, like you say, about the substitutions and stuff like that. You've got to mix it up sometimes. You've got to throw a wild card in. For me, on Wednesday, he should have started with Morales and Lennon, 2 wingers, and possibly...
It's a positive.
And then later on, 1-0 down, we're chasing an equaliser, throw Barkley on, or throw Morales on, but it was too late when he brought
But the other thing about it is, as well, is every manager now must know what he's going to do. Yeah. So surely by doing something different...
Chess, it's like a game of chess. You look at the opposition and you look at, you know, who's going to hurt you. Like I mentioned to you before, years ago with Kanchelskis, and me and Bertie had to play on the left and just sent him wide, and he never wanted to go there. And he got dragged off. And I'm looking at, he's naive in that aspect of his management, I think. You know, you've got to try and nullify the strength of the other team instead of, you know, and then if you can, I've always said that, if you can win your personal battles all over the pitch, like 5 or 6 of them, you should win the game.
Yeah, definitely. Would you be happy, I mean, no one would be happy after the defeat, but would you want a game straight away after that? Or, you know, 10 games, for 10 days for another Premier League game's a long time to wait.
It's, you know, if you get beaten, especially if you've not played well yourself, I was horrible, you know what I mean, to live with. It was, you know, I think about it, I never used to talk after the game, and if it's a long time to the next game, you know what I mean, the only way you can feel better is to get that game, get the next game, get on that pitch and put it right. And the players have got to do that.
But that's only natural to feel like that as a player, do you know what I mean? Because I'm like that myself. You know, we get beat, I go home, and I don't speak to my missus, and she's like, why have you got to come? Because Everton's just been beat. Don't speak to her for about a day, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, but like Mark's attitude, I think some of our players need to take that on board and dig in now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the positive is that it's a European game, it's something different this week as well, so maybe that'll, I don't know, it seems to get everyone up, doesn't it?
We've regenerated over the weekend. That's what he said we were going to do, regenerate.
It was great not to lose over the weekend.
Everton didn't ruin your weekend, but Roberto again, he just seems to be more suited this style of football for Europe.
Yeah.
As you can see, I think it's 5 games we've played in Europe.
Well, if we win on Thursday,
we've won 5 games.
If we win on Thursday, we'll have won as many league games as we have European games, which is mad.
It's crazy. Mad. It's crazy. But I don't know why we can't turn it from Europe to the Premier League.
I think in Europe, I don't think the pressure.
I just don't, don't go there and get turned over, you know, big time, because the confidence is low anyway. You know, they're hoping this could help now, getting a good result there and you know, building on that. But if you go there and get turned over and then, you know,
it's pressure
just,
down.
It's heads down, and you know, let's see who's got the character now in the squad.
Yeah. Well, talking of Thursday, obviously Goodison Park under the lights. What would you do with thinking of Sunday as well with Newcastle? I mean, does he put his strongest team out 2 games in a row, or does he have to prioritise the Newcastle game? Because obviously now that's the most important thing.
To me, there's no. It's survival, you know what I mean? I'd love us to win it, you know, in Europe, but let's get it right. We're all Evertonians, and we all want. It'd be the worst thing in the world, wouldn't it? And so let's get the wins under our belt.
For me, you know, you can play your best 11, and then, you know, then go on Sunday, play your best 11 again. You know, this is the thing for me. You need leaders now. You know, whether they don't want to play and whatever for the manager, you've got to play for the fans. That's the most important thing. Fans don't mind if we get beat if every single player has a go. Now, for me, if you've got 11 players on that pitch who don't want to play, well, that's what it feels like when you're in the stand. You know, you're going to get frustration and people are going to vent their anger and stuff like that. But I think they should start as strongest 11. For me, should go 4-4-2, and let's hopefully try and stop them from scoring Thursday. Try and nick a couple of goals, and it's the same with Sunday against Newcastle. You just got to go with the strongest 11 for me.
I think he's got to. I think even if he doesn't want to play 2 up front, which he's being quite reluctant to do, he's got to play with natural wide plays. He's got to give us some width, because you've got to stretch that. We were talking about it before. If you're narrow, teams will come and just pack that middle, and where we don't exactly move the ball quickly. If you've got Lennon in, what does Lennon like to do? He likes to stay wide, he hugs the touchline, that's what he's always
full of pace as well, and
and the other side, get Morales in and start and go, be positive.
That was our strength last season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, both sides, the attack and the overlaps and everything in it, and that's where we terrorised teams.
Exactly.
But now that's just seems to have gone from the game.
Well, the left side, certainly this season, the left side's just not there. There isn't a left side. Is it?
No.
You know, he keeps on putting either Naismith in there or Barkley in there, and it's ruined both of them, really. You know, Naismith's looking as bad as he was last year now, to be honest.
He works hard. Let's get it right. He works hard for the team. And I think if there's a couple more like him, you know what I mean? But it's like Tony was saying, especially the Stoke game, it was very demoralising as ex-player, supporter, to look at the way, the way they played, really. You know what I mean? It was,
the thing that really annoys me about these couple of games is how well we've done in Europe and how hard we've worked to get where we are, and now people are saying forget about it. And that's the most annoying thing, because if you look at this game, this is actually quite an easy game. The tip's not easy, but the game is probably one of the easy ones. Yeah, we're going to have to maybe just sort of put it on the back burner, and that's just really annoying.
One game at a time, isn't it? And like, what upsets me is it seems to have come into football of like, this tiredness and travelling. Like I never missed a game for 4 years. I had 2 full seasons at Oldham and 2 full seasons at West Ham. I was a winger who got kicked by psychopaths, Van den Hauwe, Stuart Pearce, Mark Dennis. I mean, and like, to me, fitness was all about my game, really. But I never felt tired. And I think like the 2 mollycoddled, really, and it's a poor excuse for me to say, because once you play your game, you don't do nothing in between. You just rest. If we played Saturday midweek and then Saturday, God, on the Monday, you take it easy. You'd have an hard day on the Tuesday, Wednesday off, and you just do like a bit of head tennis Thursday and Friday, because the games keep you going. You know what I mean? It was just like.
And you were on worse pitches as well.
Oh yeah, terrible.
Is it the fact that they're giving excuses that they take them?
Listen, they're supposed to be fitter now anyway, because the game's faster, but, to me, there's no excuse. You
and they're not in the
tired.
county, are they?
No, they're not. And they're not drinking like 89 pints of lager a week.
And having steak before the game as well.
No,
It's all pasta, they're all looked after, as you say. From year dot now, aren't they? They're just looked after, put an arm around them.
Cosseted, that's the word. You know what I mean?
You spoke before about when you were an apprentice at Everton and obviously having to clean boots and mock dressing and all. They took that away from them as well now, and so they're almost giving everything they need.
Initiations, if that happened in this day and age, the people would be going to court, because, you know what I mean, we didn't get abused. It was just a way of it's like an apprentice. It happened over the years, and it was a way of like making your man up, really. And it wasn't all physical. It was like having to sing in front of all the pros at Christmas.
I think they still do that one. Still do that one.
And collecting the balls in with nothing on. You know what I mean? And getting thrown in the cold plunge and stood. They're all stood there, not letting you get out, and you're freezing. But these are the things that happened years ago. But as regards of playing, I'd love to more. You'd rather play than train.
Yeah.
But I don't know. A lot of clubs make excuses, especially when they've played in Europe.
As we mentioned, Kyiv, they're not the greatest side. They're good at home. They don't travel very well, and they've just come off that winter break as well. So it is for me about coming here on Thursday night.
In the 94th minute at the weekend.
Well, just throwing everything at them. Being very positive, because this is the big chance, isn't it, to get it done?
For me, I mean. They play well at home and they don't travel well, like you say, but Everton have just got to dive on them from the first minute. I know it's easy saying that, but I'm one of them. I want Everton to do well as far as they can go in the Europa, and I want us to, first and foremost, to be in the Premier League next season. But all them fans, we travel well. Everton have always travelled well, no matter how poor we play. Everton travel in the droves.
Supporters,
you know what I mean? They will get there no matter what. I mean, we're playing in Kyiv next week, aren't we, away in Kyiv, and people are going planes, trains, automobiles, Delta taxis, whatever, but it's just our fans for you. So for me,
and the worst thing is they want to go to Kyiv. That's the funny thing.
But this is it, like a few of the lads message me and they're all going, laugh here this way, that way and whatever, but for me, I want us to go as far as we can, but first and foremost, I want Everton to stay in the Premier League. But all them fans that travel all over the place for Everton, they want to see us. They all want to be in Warsaw. And, you know what I mean? But let's not jump ahead of ourselves. We've got a big game here. But for me, we've got to try and stop them from scoring.
It's 6 points, is it?
In
the league, 6 points. Well, that's you know, it's a couple of wins. And,
well, it's a couple of big weeks, isn't it? You know, you've got these 2 games, got the second leg away at Kyiv, and then we go to QPR, and you think if you can get a win here, 2 wins in the league,
and it'll
look after itself.
Then, isn't it? No, we can relax then and hopefully get the Kyiv game out the way, a couple of league wins, and then enjoy the rest of the season, because it's not enjoyable thinking, oh God, who have we got next?
We've got 10 games left, haven't we, in the league, so for me, to win half of them, I mean, it's easy to say that, but look at it. There's 30 points up for grabs. We've got United to come here, and we've got Sunderland at home, we've got Burnley at home. So for me, you've got to win your own games. I know it's tough going to Villa away because they're fighting for the lives. QPR, it's going to be tough, you know. So if we can win 5 of our 10 games, and I'd like to think we could win all of them, but you know, 5, we get 15 points from that 30 that are available. I think we'll be all right.
They'll be well set with 5 wins. I think. I even think 3 wins and a couple of draws are safe. I do, honestly. But
we don't want to be looking at other results.
No, we just concentrate on winning games ourselves.
See, I think the way we are, I don't think we have to give one up. I don't. I think, like Mark said before, you winning breeds confidence. When we go in, we beat Kyiv 2-3-0 here, then the flying, you'd like to think we're flying then for Newcastle.
But is that a big thing though for Sunday, that they've got to come out the traps early? Because that's been a big thing this season, which has really annoyed me how slow we've started Premier League games here. The crowd come, they sit down, the game slows down, so the fans are up for it. It's got to be a case where Sunday they've got to be right into, so to get the fans up straight away.
Isn't it? You know, it's come to a position now in the league where the manager, if I was Roberto, said, listen lads, we're at the gritty end of the season here. You know, do you want to be part of Everton Football Club's team that's, you know, we could be relegated? You don't want that on your conscience. So as a manager, he's got to try and bring the best out of them. And it is, like Tony's saying, every tackle, you know, you've got to mean everything. You've got to be hard to beat.
I think the thing is, though, has he got that? Because Wigan, you know, under David Moyes, you knew that he, whatever failings he had, David Moyes, you knew that he always had.
I think he could be a bit
always
soft
had a performance.
on that sort of...
But that's the thing, isn't it? Because with Wigan, he never changed, did he?
No,
even
and they used
to
to
the last
concede a lot of goals. They were good, you know, they won the cup and all that. They were an attacking team, but say what, they leaked goals badly, and just let's hope he can get the lads going.
The funny thing is with Wigan though, this is when they came to life, wasn't it? This part of the season, this is where they started kicking in. Well, this is the thing.
Well, usually with the dead and buried, that's why. So they just go, we'll get relegated anyway, so we'll just go out and
do the great escape and win 8 games.
Like I say, you know, Goodison this season, and you know, from the kick-off, we sit and we let teams play. The crowd get like, you know, it's quiet.
It's anxious, isn't it?
Like Mark said before, Arsene Wenger said, going to Goodison at times, it's like a cold, you know, and it's Goodison's not. Let's be honest, you know, you want everyone like from the first whistle.
It's got to be a bear pit.
The atmosphere, everyone. But for me, like you say, hopefully we can get a win here first night. We take it into Sunday's game, and the crowd are up for it. You know what I mean? The crowd are up for it. It gets the players going, and for me, that's what it's all about. But when they're not performing, everyone's all entitled to their opinions and stuff, and for me, you know, that's why people are like waiting for the misplaced pass and they're right on the player's case, and Barkley will go down or someone and they're like right on his case, where it's encouraged them, you know what I mean?
That was going to say.
I remember I would always go back to me time here, and he'd say, you know, if nothing was happening, he'd say, come over quietly and say to me, get stuck in something, make something happen. So it was his way of saying, make something happen. So go on. And I might go a bit late on the fullback, and then their plays, and then all of a sudden,
but get the crowds up then. You know what I mean?
The crowd would be up, and then all of a sudden things would happen. You know what I mean? And
I look at our side though and say, have we got someone in there who will do it? I remember the famous Phil Neville tackle on Ronaldo and things like that a few years, and it used to take a 50-50, a good solid tackle, or someone a bit late, or whatever, a kick-off or a shot. Because if it was me, if I was Alberto, certainly against Newcastle, I'd be saying, first 5 minutes, get a shot in, it doesn't matter, get the crowd going, wide men, get your crosses in, get at them early, press them quickly, and try and unsettle them a bit.
Well, that's a change from what he's trying to do. So he's like, whether he is dead stubborn, And he can't be stupid because obviously he's got to change something to win games. So let's hope.
Is it a case that then Sunday's got to go more attacking? Maybe those wingers, maybe two up front or one off. Even if it's Naismith playing off Lukaku, he's got to be looking to attacking.
Well, I like that. You know what I mean? Because Naismith, he can hold the ball up. You know what I mean? Get it into his feet. He's got great feet.
Yeah, he's a good link man, isn't he? But again, no, for that to work for me, there's got to be two naturally wide players. The fullbacks have got to have someone in front of them. It's no use having. You've brought Aaron Lennon in for 6 months. There's no point bringing him in and playing him narrow off Lukaku because that's not his game. He's not gonna keep the ball into feet. We were talking about Sterling before. He makes a nuisance of himself. Lennon's better wide. Get wide. Put deliveries in.
He's not good sensibly.
No,
like you say, he's a natural winger.
There'll be no Barry as well.
I was about to say
so
that
the Besic, good chance for Besic to play. And if you want someone to go around kicking people, he's the perfect one.
But you're saying for leaders, like we were talking about it, me and one of the lads, and he said he lost the ball or something, and he's punching the ground because now for me that's someone who is committed to play and you can see a couple of times when he's been dragged off and that, and I thought, hang on, he's been one of the ones who's been running around, he's put a graft in, and there's certain players who should be getting dragged before him. He's lost the ball or he's given a silly foul away and he's punching the ground, and you can see how much it means to wear that blue shirt for Besic for me. So I would start Besic all day because obviously Barry's not playing.
Well, he's one of them, isn't he? But you look at Besic, mentioned before about everyone being able to go somewhere else, higher, bigger team, but Besic is proving himself this year in the Premier League. He's getting better, and you do see that. You see that, and you see that from the younger players as well, Stones as well. He's getting better and better, and it means it does look like it means something to. But other players, I just think to himself,
he's comfortable on the ball, Stones, and I think he's going to get better.
He's only 20 as well, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? We've got a youngish squad. You've got the senior players like Jags and Baines, and we're trying to. You can see what he's trying to do, but it's time for the passy thing now. Everton have got to win by, like you're saying, two wingers, balls in the box, and strikers attacking the ball. At all means, because we don't want to be getting dragged into this fight. You know what I mean?
God, I hope not. Watching QPR's results and Leicester's results.
Seeing the Harry Kane goal, that was the worst.
We supposed to be doing the opposite beginning of the season, weren't we? We hated Spurs and everyone else. Right, move away from this horrible man. Mark, we mentioned at the beginning of the show, scored a whopper in a derby at the Gladys Street End. Just talk us through that.
We'll just do my job, all right?
Can you go and have a bit of a few of these?
Yeah, I didn't score many goals, but Inchcliffe was taking the corners from the right, and obviously you work on the opposition, and I would say, I want you on the edge of the box because you've got a great dig on you. Anything comes out, attack it. So you've got your positions to to be there, and because if you don't, the likes of Colony, they'd say, that ball come out on the edge of the box. Why was you on it? Anyway, what happened was Stevie Mack was on the near post and he cleared it, but it wasn't a good clearance. He's like half cleared it, and it dropped right on the edge of the box, and it was Mark Walters, and I was already on the way, wasn't I? So I thought I'm going to get this, and then as I got closer to the ball, he was the favourite, but he seemed to go a bit like
doesn't fancy it.
And when you look at it on the telly, he didn't fancy it at all. So I was taking him.
His middle name is Everton, though.
Well, Well, I was going to take him the ball, and and I hit it so sweet, and I only went about 12 inches off the ground, and it was just went through everyone. It was lucky really because it could have hit anyone's legs. And Grobbelaar was like that, and Bruce wasn't very happy, was he? And
him and Stevie
started the handbags slapping each other in the face.
What's that like though? What's it like scoring a goal in a derby at the street end?
To be honest, I just ran back to the halfway line, and I thought, I'd scored goals before, like on my home debut against Arsenal, and them goals, I always say that was my best game of football I've ever played, because I'd strive to get back to the club I loved. But I remember lining up, but we murdered Liverpool that day. You know what I mean? It was like it was one of the most one-sided derbies I've seen or even played in.
The only thing that was wrong with that derby was on the Wednesday night he started a young lad called Robbie Fowler. because they lived that bad, and that was the only thing wrong with that. I always remember that.
After it.
Yeah, he scored. I think he scored in the League Cup, and then never looked back. So there's always something with Everton, isn't there? Always something.
I mean, that derby, Cotty scored, didn't he, near the end, but it should have been. You're right, it should have been 5 or 6. We destroyed them.
It was a great game to play in.
That Arsenal game, let me just think, that Arsenal game, because that was Everton were outstanding. That used to whopper goal down at the park end, didn't it? They were champions. A free kick as well, didn't it?
That was lucky, the free kick, but the first one, because Howard was great. When he saw me, he said, "I'm playing you on the left. I'm all right-footed." He said, "I said, Howard, I'll play anywhere for Everton." And he was great because he didn't expect me to run down the left-hand side, because I couldn't. You know what I mean? So don't do something that you can't do. He said, if you're running down there, bring it back on your right and whip it in like that, or join in, 1-2s, and I did. So I did, and when I hit that shot, to be honest, I thought it was you'd always know, and I hit it with power, but I thought he's going to get there, Seaman. And just at the last seconds, he just curled round his arm. And my dad had died at like 14 months before, and he'd never ever seen me play for Everton. He was a mad Evertonian. And I always say to this day, and I was doing a talk at the weekend, and some fella said he was right behind that shot. He said, "Mark, I thought Seaman was going to get it." I said, "Yeah, but little Billy Ward blew it in."
Got his head on it? Yeah,
just must have done. But to me, that was a great feeling, because I walked out on the pitch that night thinking I'd waited. When you're in that tunnel going out, you go down the steps and that Z-Cars music. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's in my DNA, and it was like every hair stood up on my body. It was just like, the adrenaline was just unbelievable.
Did it mean so much because obviously you've been here as a young lad and left the club?
And the disappointments. But and it was a long road back, really. 10 years to the day, and with the likes of Joe Rowe signing me for Oldham, and then Howard bringing me back here. It was it was a great game for me.
And obviously, as you mentioned, Mike Walker let you sort of slip out the pecking order. So that must be not only disappointing because you had to leave Everton, but I think because it was Mike Walker.
I think what it is with me, someone said to me, "I'm very impetuous," which means like I left West Ham because of Lou Macari. Now, you give people a chance to manage the team, and then you make your own decisions. You know what I mean? It's like first impressions, okay. But everyone was the same, you know what I mean, about him. I left and he got the sack. I left Everton and he got the sack. So maybe if it had been like a lot of players, I wanted to play football, so I didn't want to just stay in the reserves and take me dough. You know what I mean? I needed to play. I love to play the game, and I think I've been quite a good judge of managers. And I can't weigh Martinez up at the moment because he had a great season last season, but it could be a successful season for him. If we have a few wins and finish mid-table and we get to a European final, he's got a great season, but it could go the other way.
It is, I mean, finishing up on Martinez, it is a strange one, isn't it? Because, I mean, we've noticed in the last couple of weeks, social media and all the rest of it, it's going a bit nuts, and Tony, you'll be aware of it. It's going a bit nuts. People who you thought backed them are now not backing him, and it's all going back to the things when he first started, or we didn't want him anyway. And the thing that sort of gives me hope, I mean, we've both met him a couple of times, we've interviewed him a couple of times, and it's the his intelligence and it's his passion, and you just think actually he will get it right, and maybe if he can get through this season, ship out a few that he doesn't want, get in a few more that he does want, that can play the way he wants to play, but it's just that in-between bit. I mean, a big thing for me is the Howard thing. It's the stubbornness of keeping Howard in the team. He had the chance to leave him out, he had the option, he had a great get-out clause, and then he brought him back, and you scratching your head. Say,
it's just, a goalkeeper is the most important position, it isn't it? Because if you're a goalkeeper, if he makes a mistake, that's it, it's in the back of the net, isn't it? He can get away with giving the ball away, centre midfield, they've got to do a lot to, you know what I mean? So he sees them keepers on a day-to-day basis. Like, he hasn't got the luxury of having a Never Southall, you know what I mean? Because Big Jerry Payton never got a look in, did he? And, he was world class. So I don't know, what's his name? Roble, right, Roble, how close he is to Howard. But in training, they could be miles apart. And until you train with him, because I had the same at West Ham, Phil Parks, great goalkeeper. Tom McAllister, when we used to do shooting practice against Phil, we'd have to try and get closer to beat him. That's how good he was. Now to give Tom a chance, we'd go further back. Now listen, that was the difference between the two. Yeah. And it's a big difference. Yeah. So only he'll know, or you know what I mean. So he must.
But he had him at Wigan and brought him here. Yeah. So that's why you look and you go, and then he's got in and
he's done well when he's got
grew into it, which was a strange one for me. It's that inflexibility, I think, which is the worry. But you know, if he can, like you say, if he can just get one win that Glenn needs into two, and then players' confidence comes back. You then might see them finish with 4 or 5 wins, and you'll be looking, hopefully, in May we'll be going, what was all that about? You know what I mean?
But we're talking about it because we care, you see.
Yeah, of course.
And if we didn't care, and we know the experience of the Wimbledon fiasco, and you know what I mean, we don't want to get into that position again. And it's easily, like you said before, you know, you get dragged into it. Yeah. And then the nerves start. Some of them players got the bottle to play in them games, because they are the nervy games then. Yeah.
But that's it, isn't it? I mean, you look at these games coming up, and they've gone from games you look at and go, we'll roll these over. Newcastle are coming, they've got nothing to play for. But then when it comes to the crunch in the game, you start thinking, well, we've got to win this. We had to beat Leicester and we couldn't.
I thought we'd roll West Brom over, I thought we'd roll Leicester over, and it did nothing. You know, it just did nothing.
And they've still got West Ham as well. I'm down there for that game.
Hopefully, there'll be not much on it.
I know, that's it.
No.
You never know.
I've had a bet with my mate who's a West Ham supporter. And listen, West Ham finish above Everton. Yeah. And I'm going, and he keeps on texting me. I'm good for that money. It's only 50 quid, but I'm like that. And I just hope they keep on losing now, and we can get up there. And there might be something on that game.
Hopefully, you never know.
He says in his West Ham colours.
Yeah. He just heads in his bets.
Mark, you're doing a lot of after dinner speaking and stuff, and Tony, you've got a night coming up in May.
Yeah, it's in
one of many.
It's doing really well, to be honest. This one in May is with Howard Kendall, Bob Latchford, Neville Southall, Tony Cottee, and this fella next to me, Mark Ward.
He's got a few stories.
Oh, he's got some cracking stories, but I mean, it's just a cracking night all round. I mean, a lot of people say to me, you know, what's it like, Saudis? I mean, listen, just come along and enjoy yourselves, and you know, like, you know, you've met Neville Southall before. He just says how it is, and Howard Kendall's got loads of stories and stuff like that. But also, you know, Bob Latchford, what a gentleman. He's got loads of cracking stories, and I've never worked with Tony Cottee before, but we've got Darren Griffiths on as well, comparing the night, and a comedian on, Tom Pepper, who I've heard like he's a cracking comedian. But like I say, that's in the Hunt Royal British Legion in Runcorn on Friday the 8th of May. We play Sunderland at home the next day, like, so it's doing all right, to be fair.
And you know what's sad? That we've got all these great players, great ex-players, and you never hear them in the media, and that's what annoys me more than anything. You've got all them on, their lot, every single one of them. Southall should be on telly every single week.
Is there? I lost count the other day.
There's too many of them.
Either on Sky or the radio. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's about 12 of them.
We've got loads.
David James getting anywhere?
We've got loads. Southall should be on the telly, radio. Well, the radio. Should be on the radio every week talking about footy, because there's so knowledge. So should like a Ratcliffe. You know, there's so many out there. And, you know, these are the only place you can see them.
But I mean, Neville Southall, you know, for me, he's a legend on his own. You know what I mean? But he just says how it is, and you know, he's a very
not like Mark.
But yeah, a bit like that.
No, what it is with Nev, right? I used to go in dead early. Nev was the first and then last to go. When I broke my ankle, I had to train with the keepers for a week because I still had the 2 plates and screws in my ankle, so I couldn't tackle. And I was fit, and I tell you what, he worked like a Trojan. He blasted the ball in my face in the first day, cut all my lips and all that. Wouldn't let me go in to get cleaned up. But Neville was like this. He's like Tony saying, he's dead straight. If he didn't like it, he wouldn't speak to you. Yeah. But if he knew that you weren't giving 100%, right, he'd tell you. And if he was in that team now, like from the Stoke, he'd have to say it. And I love the bones of him because he was the greatest keeper I've played with. But it was philosophy, his work ethic and his winning that come across for me. And to me, he should still be in the game, but he's not in the game because he's too straight. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sad, and sometimes you upset people like that. But you know, it's going to be a great night. You know, you've got what 4, 5 speakers there, and they all have their own different ways.
Different take on Everton.
I've worked with Tony, and he talks about all the goals he scored and never talks about some of the
that you set up for.
Set up after them at West Ham, like.
Good fella. So, where is it?
It's at the Holt Royal British Legion Runcorn on Friday the 8th of May. Tickets are £35 each, buffet included. For tickets, just contact myself on Twitter at Murrell Tony. And I can sort tickets out, no problem for you.
And if it's dead popular, you might do one, you know, within the city, not on one of those, like, you know,
over the Runcorn
not one of those plashy scouts kind of places.
Building another bridge, you know.
I'd shut them down, never mind opening them. Right, big thanks for Tony, big thanks for Mark for coming on the show, big thanks for Baz for just sitting next to me. We'll be back next week, hopefully. See you later.